Hello and welcome back to part 3 of this F1 2016 career mode. If you missed parts 1 and 2 of the Australian and the Bahrain Grand Prix, then you can click the little card annotation in the top right corner of your screens now to go check out those two. I thoroughly suggest you go check those videos out because there were some great races in both of those. But we're here at the Chinese Grand Prix for round 3 of this 2016 season. So far beating Jolyon Palmer in the teammate rivalry. We were doing a good job this season. We managed to get 6th place in the Australian Grand Prix and we got 11th in the Bahrain Grand Prix, but we got into Q3 in that race and unfortunately a few mistakes going into the back of Nico Hülkenberg as he swerved down in towards turn 1, and then we got a drive-through penalty as well because of speeding in the pit lane. So not the best of races in Bahrain, but we managed to come back for third. No, it wasn't 11th. It was 14th place we managed to come back for, and we had quite a lot of battles in that race. So it was still very, very entertaining. But just looking at the driver standings there, we're in 8th position at the moment. Now looking at R&D, we don't have a lot of resource points. We have enough to upgrade the fuel efficiency and the drag, but I don't think we're going to go for the drag just yet. We're thinking about upgrading the chassis weight and putting ourselves amongst the Haas and the McLaren Hondas. Without any further ado, let's head over to the race weekend for the Chinese Grand Prix.
Good morning and welcome from Shanghai. The wet conditions here today are likely to prove an especially difficult challenge as the teams begin their preparations for the weekend's Grand Prix. So Anthony, lots to do of course in these sessions, lots of programs to run. What are you looking for when you jump in the car for free practice?
Well, you have basic checks first of all. You know, is the car working correctly? What are the track conditions like? And you'll be chasing that as the session goes on. Things like that. Then you start getting into the nitty-gritty of it all, and they become more like test sessions where it's all about gathering new data, testing components, tweaking the setup and so on. So there's only so much actual practice that these drivers need. Most of them will be plenty familiar enough with the track layout, either from previous experience or from the simulator.
Here we go then, free practice 1 here at the Chinese Grand Prix, and we're just going to get all of the R&D sessions over and done with. So we're going to go straight away into the track acclimatization, try and get the best possible score within the first couple of laps. It is actually raining outside, so that's going to make it a little bit difficult. So it took us a couple of laps to get used to. The first lap was completely dead. We didn't even beat the average score, and then we managed to beat on the second lap. We managed to get green on that one. Now coming down towards the final corner, across the line, and we managed to get purple. We managed to complete the R&D objective for the track acclimatization, so that's very good. We managed to get that done in the first time of asking, and coming through the final corner now for the tyre wear management. And so far, purple, green, purple, 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 and a red in there, and then we got purple on the final one as well. And that was enough to get another purple in the overall in the track tyre management. And now for the qualifying pace, coming through the final corner. We managed to do this on the first time of asking on the super soft tyres, coming across the line, and target objective beat 15th place. And they actually said that we predicted to get first position once again. They said that last time at the Bahrain Grand Prix, but it didn't quite happen for us there. But just looking at the standings at the end of free practice 1, so we're currently in P1. However, we were the only driver to run on the super soft, setting a time that was only 4 tenths faster than Nico Rosberg. So expect those guys to definitely be faster than us in qualifying and the race as well. But that is it for free practice. We've done all of the R&D sessions, and let's head back to the menus before qualifying. So here we are in the R&D development screen once again. We've got 685 research and development points, and we're definitely thinking about spending that on the chassis weight. We can afford that. We can afford upgrading the engine as well, so we could possibly make ourselves very, very quick, especially at a track like Russia where there are very, very long straights there, and we could definitely maximize our potential. But we're going to upgrade the chassis weight. We're going to put a bit of development on that, and that is going to put us close to the Haas Formula 1 team, and also put us close to McLaren's. Not quite going to jump them, I don't think. We just have to wait until the Russian Grand Prix to see whether we jump them. But yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see for that. But for now, let's head into practice 2 for this Chinese Grand Prix. There wasn't really a lot to do in free practice 2, so all we had to really do was beat the remaining team objectives. So try and get as many R&D development points as we possibly can, because we might be able to develop something else later on in this episode as well. But just looking through free practice 2, we're right down in 16th place, setting our only time on the medium tyres. So there is a bit of improvement there. I reckon I can get out of Q1 and into Q2. Not too sure about getting into Q3 though. We'll just have to wait and see for that as we head into the qualifying session.
We'd like to welcome you from wherever in the world you join us today for this F1 qualifying session here in Shanghai, China. This has been an exciting track in times gone by, and typically it entertains the moment the lights go out.
We've seen in the past how tricky the first corner is. It's not an issue in practice and qualifying, but if you throw a lot of highly competitive drivers at it all at once, you've got an entirely different situation. The smarter drivers will be able to temper their approach and stay out of trouble, but it doesn't mean it's easy.
Here we go then, the first qualifying session of this Chinese Grand Prix. We'll be looking to try and get out of this session as quickly as possible, so I think we're probably going to go for the super soft tyres and try and maximise our lap time, get out Q1 straight away, and then try and push in Q2 to possibly get into Q3 for the second time in a row. But here we go, coming through the final corner for our first lap here at the Chinese Grand Prix, down across the line, and it's a 1:39.983. That's good enough for third position at the moment in qualifying. Lewis Hamilton just behind us, but his best lap time was set on the soft tyres, and in the end it was only good enough for 7th place. I say only good enough, but that is into Q2, and it is possibly going to be good enough to get into Q3 as well. We're just going to have to wait and see how that progresses across the rest of the qualifying session. But Jolyon Palmer down in 17th position, a little bit disappointed for him not to get the other Renault out of Q1. Felipe Nasr in 18th. Felipe Massa down there in 20th positions. Not the best of qualifying sessions for him here today, and he'll be looking to try and get out of that bottom end of the field in the race tomorrow. But coming across the line, and it's a 1:41.5 on these soft tyres, which isn't the best of laps here in qualifying. It's probably only going to be good enough for about 15th position. We lose the back end as well going through turn 3, and that's unfortunately lost our front wing. Lucky not to have any more damage, but we had to go back out on the super soft tyres just to definitely make sure that we can try and get into Q3. And there we go, up into 9th position with a 1:40.258. That's a very, very quick lap here at the Chinese Grand Prix. And there we go, into Q3 for the second time in a race weekend. I think we're definitely going to have to put up the difficulty onto Legend for the Russian Grand Prix. And saying that, definitely we are going to put the difficulty up in Russia to Legend, because it's just too easy at the moment. The Renault should not be getting into Q3, so we're just going to dial it up, and hopefully it's going to be a bit more challenging for us. But there we go, Nico Hulkenberg, Carlos Sainz, Jenson Button, Fernando Alonso, Roman Grosjean and Marcus Ericsson not making it through into Q3. But where are we going to place in the top 10 shootout? We're just going to have to wait and see as we head into Q3 now. So here we go, ending our first lap here in this qualifying session, down towards the line. What sort of time is it going to be? Will it break the 1:40s? No, just missing out there. So 1:40.026. It's good enough for 8th position at the moment, but we're going to go out for one more lap. Coming across the line, and it is an improvement. It's a 1:30.325, which is good enough for 6th position. We're ahead of the Red Bull of Max Verstappen as well. And down towards the line, it's not going to be an improvement though on our final lap. It's 97 thousandths of a second off the pace. Unfortunately, not able to improve on 6th place. However, that is where we finished in Q3. That is where we will be starting on the grid. And that's a fantastic result in this qualifying session. Nico Rosberg bags himself pole position with Lewis Hamilton finishing that session in second. Sebastian Vettel was on the second row. Alongside him is his former teammate Daniel Ricciardo. Kimi Raikkonen's in 5th, whereas we line up alongside him. Max Verstappen is in 7th. Valtteri Bottas is in 8th. Danny Kvyat lines up in 10th, with Sergio Perez rounding out the top 10. That is it for today's qualifying session. Let's head into the race. Before we head into the race though, we've actually beaten Jolyon Palmer in the rivalry, which is fantastic news to beat Jolyon Palmer in only the 3rd race. Well, not even the 3rd race. We beat him before the 3rd race, so in qualifying we've managed to beat Jolyon Palmer, which is fantastic news. And just looking at the research and development, so our chassis weight's nearly actually done, so it definitely will be arriving at the Russian Grand Prix. But let's head into the race now and see what we can do out on track.
Hard work, ingenuity and ambition. All things you'll find in abundance amongst the 15 million people of Shanghai over there to our southeast. And we've got plenty of that here on the grid as well. 20,000 horsepower, give or take, chomping at the bit to be unleashed for the Chinese Grand Prix. Shanghai International Circuit then, a 16-corner high-speed thrill ride. The long and ever-tightening right-hander at turns 1 and 2 tests a driver's patience, and the flat, open to the elements location, tests their skill in a crosswind. 2 DRS zones will assist passing, and overtaking is available into turn 1, and of course down the kilometre-long back straight into the hairpin at turn 14. Joining me once again to take you through this race is the effervescent Anthony Davidson, and I'm very much looking forward to it getting underway. You raced here, of course, didn't you, back in your Super Aguri days in that infamous Chinese Grand Prix of 2007?
Yeah, that's right. I didn't last that long, though, unfortunately. Qualifying had gone pretty well, but my brakes failed quite early in the race, around lap 10 or 11, something like that. And of course, back in 2004, I was the very first Formula 1 driver to complete a lap of this circuit. Just thought I'd mention that for you, Crofty. You like a good stat. It's a fairly tough circuit on the brakes here, though. You know, it's that long back straight down into turn 14, and then you've got turn 6 and 11. They're quite heavy as well. On top of that, managing your front tyre wear is always a challenge around here, so there's a lot to keep in mind during the Grand Prix.
We need you to finish in 13th or higher today.
It's race time for the Chinese Grand Prix, starting in a fantastic 6th position on the grid. Another brilliant qualifying session for ourselves in this Chinese Grand Prix, and just confirming there that we definitely will be having to put up the difficulty. A Renault should not be qualifying in 6th position in the first season. Maybe towards the end if we did fantastically on the research and development, but it definitely should not be qualifying in Q3. But having a look at the race strategy for today's race, last time out at the Bahrain Grand Prix and at the Australian Grand Prix, the sort of high time management strategy has worked out for us before, so we're going to stick with that once again. Go from the soft to the mediums, and once again on the mediums again instead of going super soft, medium. So that's probably the best tire strategy for us. If the safety car gets thrown out there, that might mix up. We might consider switching the strategy, but we just have to wait and see as the race goes on. But let's get into the race now and see what we can do out on track. So here we go, starting the formation lap. Hopefully we get underway and everything's nice and fine. Everybody's starting to pull away now, and here we go off the grid. So Kimi Räikkönen just ahead of us. We're just going to weave the car, warm up our tyres, and make our way back to the starting grid. So here we go on the grid as the lights start to come on. 4, 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for the Chinese Grand Prix. The lights hardly on for a lot of time there at this start, but we've got a great start compared to the Ferrari of Kimi Räikkönen. Valtteri Bottas having a great start compared to us. We break a little bit too early down in towards turn 1. Sergio Perez on the outside. We get it caught on the grass. The car sliding round the first corner in towards turn 2 now, and we are all the way down into 15th position. Not the greatest of starts. We got Felipe Massa going round the outside of us as well, losing the back end just a little bit through turn 3, and that is a dreadful start here at the Chinese Grand Prix. Down into 6th position. Felipe Massa up next. We go up the inside of him. We go up the inside of a Sauber of who is that? Who is it? It's Ericsson. Couldn't see the name. It didn't pop up on the left-hand side. It was Ericsson that we went up the side of as he locked up his tyres massively. There was a long lock up there from the Sauber of Marcus Ericsson, and we moved up into 14th place. And now hunting down Nico Hülkenberg after Jenson Button has got past him, going into this hairpin right behind the Force India driver now. So the second lap of this race, so don't just ignore the purple in the top right-hand corner. We're not actually going fastest. It's just because we're beating the first lap time that was set by, I think it was Lewis Hamilton at the start of the race. But going up the inside of Nico Hülkenberg, side by side through this right-hander. It's still going to be side by side into this left-hander. We've given the room on the inside. He's decided not to take it. And there we go, up into 13th position in this Chinese Grand Prix. Up next for us is Jenson Button, and I think his teammate Fernando Alonso. So we'll be looking to get past those two as soon as possible as they're going side by side down in towards the hairpin. But we have to worry about Nico Hülkenberg now going for a move on the right-hand side, going down to the hairpin. He's taking the inside line. We're giving him the room round the outside. It looks like Nico Hülkenberg has got the job done, weaving all over the place in front of us, and we're just going to have to settle back for 14th place for the time being. Having a little look up the inside into the final corner, following in the slipstream now down in towards turn 1. So will we be able to come back in as soon as possible? DRS is now enabled. We're not going to get it on this straight just of yet. We're going to have to wait until the next lap to get it on this straight. But side by side with Nico Hülkenberg, and surely that is job done now here at the Chinese Grand Prix, up into 13th position. We're very, very close behind the two McLarens of Fernando Alonso and Jenson Button. So we'll be looking to get past those two within the next couple of corners and maximise our potential in this race. Try and push as much as we can. Push like hell to try and get past Fernando Alonso and Jenson Button, and then try and push to try and get into the top 10 as well. There's a little bit of a gap between 10th and 11th place right now, so we need to try and push as much as possible to close it up so that we don't miss out on any points in this race. But right behind Fernando Alonso as we go through this left-hander, so close on the back of that McLaren, and we might be able to go for a move around the outside. We've gone very, very wide into this corner, but we've got a good drive through. We're now side by side with Fernando Alonso, just putting our nose just a little bit up the inside, and then just give him a little touch on his rear left wheel, and that was enough to put him wide. He decided to give us so much room through the left-hander, so we thought thank you very much. So now we're on board with Marcus Ericsson going through the left-hander where we had contact with Fernando Alonso, and he's got a front right puncher out of nowhere, literally out of nothing. Marcus Ericsson has got a front right tyre there on the right-hand side, so very, very disappointing for the Sauber driver to get a punch, and he's going to be so far behind the rest of the field. I think he was holding up a couple of drivers, including Pascal Wehrlein as well. So Pascal Wehrlein is not going to be happy about that. But we're now cutting ahead to lap 5. There are a few more drivers coming into the pits. We've got ahead of Jenson Button already. And now we're going to get past Danny Kvyat, Sebastian Vettel, and another driver who is coming to the pits, and that puts us up into 8th position in this Chinese Grand Prix. So we're running really, really well at the moment with all these other guys coming into the pits. The tyre strategy that we've gone for working very, very well for us. A couple of more drivers coming into the pits on this lap, and we are going to move up into 6th position. But we're coming in on this lap, so we will be losing out on quite a lot of positions because we were on the harder tyres. We did have a couple of guys queued up behind us. Just about making the pit stop, the pit lane entry speed there. Just below it, well, I say just below it, was about 39 miles an hour. So maybe we could increase the speed through there just a little bit. But coming into the pit stops haven't exactly been the quickest throughout the season. And saying that, we get a 2.1 second stop there from the Renault boys. They have definitely been putting in their practice since the Bahrain Grand Prix. And that's a fantastic stop as we come out the pit lane in 19th position. But we have Jenson Button ahead of us. He is currently on the super soft tyres, but he should be coming into the pits on the next couple of laps. We also have Jolyon Palmer coming into the pits on this lap. Daniel Ricciardo also into the pits, I believe, and that puts us up into 15th position in this race as we're now on board with the Ferrari of Kimi Räikkönen as he goes to look to get past the Manor. Sorry, Manor, that's the car it is on the left-hand side of Rio Haryanto. He's got the Haas car of, I think, Roman Grosjean just ahead of him as well. So we're going to go side by side out of the hairpin, down towards this left-hander. Going through the left-hander. No, Haryanto's coming into the pits. Kimi Räikkönen wanted to take the corner as usual, and unfortunately that has put him into a spin. We move up and past the Ferrari driver there. We're going to get past all these drivers coming into the pits as well, and there has been a safety car deployed. So safety car is deployed in this race, which is fantastic news for us. It allows us to catch up to the rest of the field, and this could be really, really good for our strategy in the race. There's the safety car on the right hand side. Now we're caught up to the rest of the pack. Going down to the hairpin. Safety car coming in this lap as we go down in towards a hairpin. Look how much everyone's queued in. You can just see a Manor there weaving just a little bit as we're sort of watching on board with Felipe Massa. Is he going to get the jump on us? No! His engine has blown up right at the safety car restart. That is really, really disappointing for the Williams driver. He is out of the race, but we are currently in 8th position following behind the Toro Rosso of Daniel Kvyat. We'll be looking to possibly go for a move very, very soon on the Toro Rosso driver. Possibly have a look up the inside in towards turn 1. Side by side with Danny Kvyat. Can we go around the outside into turn 2? We're going to hold it around the outside. We don't want to lose the back end through this corner. Side by side still with the Toro Rosso driver, and he squeezes us out on the exit. That's really, really disappointing. We could have probably got past Danny Kvyat, but we had to back out of it just a little bit. Now having a look up into this hairpin, down into second gear, and there we go, up into 7th position in this race. I'm not too sure whether Daniel Kvyat will be coming back at us, but up next for us is Sergio Perez in this race. And now we are right on the tail of the Force India drivers. There's a couple of drivers coming into pits as well. We're going to get the slipstream. No DRS. DRS is not activated just yet, but going down in towards turn 1, it's side by side with the Force India driver. Are we going to get the job done? Yes, we are. There we go, up into P4. And Carlos Sainz currently in 3rd position in this race. He is running fantastically. You've got Lewis Hamilton, I think, who is leading the race at the moment with the Red Bull of, I think it is Max Verstappen, currently running in 2nd place. We're on board with Fernando Alonso as he has a Red Bull, that Red Bull of Daniel Ricciardo. Now possibly going for a move, and his engine's blown up as well. That's the 2nd driver in this race whose engine has blown up. We've seen a lot of retirements this season of engine failures, and there is Fernando Alonso adding to that tally as he pulls off to the side of the road. But now we are right on the back of Carlos Sainz as they've got driver Max Verstappen coming into the pits on lap 15. That puts us up into a podium spot, and looks like it's getting a little bit cloudy out on track. So we asked the race engineer if the weather's going to be bad, and he says that there is going to be no rain in this session, so we don't really have to worry about that at all. But we're going side by side with Carlos Sainz through turn 1 into turn 2, trying to do a bit of a cutback move on the Toro Rosso driver, following in the slipstream now, following right on the gearbox of Carlos Sainz. We're in the dirty air, but we will be having a look up the inside into the next corner. Surely, no, we're not going to try the same move that we pulled on Daniel Kvyat. And unfortunately, they're not being able to get the move and losing the back end just a little bit. But Carlos Sainz is slow out of the hairpin, but then squeezes us on the entry into this fast left-hander. We probably could have tried to move on the outside if Carlos Sainz held the inside line through there. but great defensive work from the Toro Rosso driver to hold us off. But now side by side through this left-hander, just still getting our nose up the inside, but just unlike Fernando Alonso, not giving us a lot of room, and we're unable to go for the move in towards that corner. So we're just going to have to settle behind him for the time being. And now it's coming to the end of lap 16, and Carlos Sainz is coming into the pits from P2. So we're just going to carry on with this race on these medium tyres. We're not coming into the pits for, I think, another 2 laps, or maybe we're coming into the pits on this lap. Yeah, we are, lap 17. So we're now coming into the pits down towards the pit lane. What are we going to do? Just about getting it stopped in time, 49 miles an hour, and that is absolutely perfect. That is what we are aiming for in this in the pit stop entry phase. But now coming into the pit box, and we're going to need a good pit stop from the Renault boys. Yes, it is. There's consistency as well there from the Renault team. 2.284 second stop from Renault, which is fantastic news. We're running really, really well in this race right now. We're going to come out. It's a fantastic stop, but we are out ahead of Max Verstappen in 3rd position currently in this Chinese Grand Prix, of Gutierrez out in front. I don't think he's pitting. I think he still has 1 pit stop left to go in this race. We're on board with Max Verstappen now. He's right to the back of my tail, so he will possibly be going for a move anytime soon as we go through this left-hander. Max Verstappen very, very close on the back of my gearbox, going down in towards this very, very tight left-hander before the DRS zone. Will he be going for a move in towards the DRS zone? No, we make a mistake. We run it wide, and there goes Max Verstappen round the outside just before the DRS straight. We are going to get DRS on the Red Bull driver, though, because he managed to overtake us just before the detection zone. So we're going to get the job done, hopefully down this straight, following in the slipstream of the Red Bull driver, going down towards the hairpin. DRS activated in the slipstream, move done. There we go, up into 3rd position in this Chinese Grand Prix. And up next for us is once again Esteban Gutierrez, but he should be coming into the pits within the next couple of laps. We're just going to have to wait for that, and then we will be up into 2nd place in this Chinese Grand Prix and defending like hell. But we've got Max Verstappen having a little look around the outside into that corner, but not quite being able to go for the move there. So we were doing very, very well to defend from the young Red Bull driver going into this corner. No, Max Verstappen is adding to the list of drivers who have had engine failures in this race. That's 3 drivers in this race who have had their engines blow up behind them. Felipe Massa, Fernando Alonso, and now Max Verstappen, as we've got Sebastian Vettel all up behind us going down the DRS straight. He's following in the slipstream. DRS activated, and that is a fairly easy move there from the Ferrari driver. But going down into the hairpin, we'll try and get him back under braking. Under braking, very, very good there compared to the Ferrari driver, but not enough to try the cutback move. And unfortunately, we're just going to have to concede the position to the Ferrari driver for the time being. But we're not going to give up. We're going to try and maybe do another move down in towards turn 1, following in the slipstream and the DRS. Sebastian Vettel going very, very slowly out of the exit of the final corner down towards turn 1. It's side by side between myself and the Ferrari. Can we get the job done? Yes, we can, into turn 1. And there we go, back up into P2 of this race after Esteban Gutierrez has now finally come into the pits. Lewis Hamilton way out in front. He does still have to make a pit stop, but I don't think it'll be enough for us to get him in the race, as Sebastian Vettel once again going for another overtake at this Chinese Grand Prix. Trying it once again to try and outbrake him into the hairpin, holding it around the outside. Sebastian Vettel very, very slow on the inside there. Nearly went into the side of him. We had to back out of it, run wide, and that gave the position back to Seb. But going through the left-hander, still following very, very closely behind the Ferrari driver. DRS activated once more, down in towards turn 1. Will we be possibly getting the move back on the Ferrari driver, this time pulling to the inside line, down in towards turn 1, side by side. A little bit of contact between me and Sebastian Vettel, so I give him the position back, because I just felt it was a little bit harsh to sort of bump him out of the way. I'm not about driving into the AI and getting past. So there we go. So we gave Sebastian Vettel the position back, and we'll be probably looking to try and get back past him, which we have done very, very close now on lap 23. Surely we are going to get the job done with the DRS and the slipstream down towards the hairpin. Following behind the Ferrari, it's very, very fast in a straight line, but moving over to the right-hand side by side with the Ferrari, and there we go, job done before we've even got to the corner. No, Sebastian Vettel very late under braking, trying to keep it around the outside, but there we go, squeezing him out and back up into P2 in this Chinese Grand Prix. As Hamilton has finally come into the pit lane, but there we go, he's already going through turn 1, so definitely did not affect him too much, and he's certainly going to go on to win this race if he doesn't get any problems. And we're currently starting lap 24 in this race, so Sebastian Vettel shoots it up the inside in towards turn 1, but we try the cutback move on him side by side in towards turn 2 now with the Ferrari driver. Who's going to come out on top? We're trying a cutback move. We've tried it so many times, it has not worked. Will it work this time? This time we are so close to the gearbox of the Ferrari driver. We'll possibly be going for a move down in towards the hairpin. It's so close right now between me and Sebastian Vettel. Who would have thought that we'd be driving and battling against a Ferrari this late into the Chinese Grand Prix? The strategy has worked really, really well for us. Also, you've got to hand it to the AI difficulty being slightly lower than I probably should have it on. But we've got the DRS and the slipstream once again on Sebastian Vettel as we end lap 24, start lap 25. And there we go, back up into P2 in this Chinese Grand Prix. And Sebastian Vettel is not going to go for a move down in towards turn 1. But we run it wide, getting on the grass, getting on the runoff area. And Sebastian Vettel very easily back up into P2, and surely he has got a position now in this Chinese Grand Prix. Surely we cannot come back at him in this Chinese Grand Prix. He's so far up the road, but we do. Lap 26, right behind the Ferrari driver. DRS activated once again, going down in towards the hairpin. Surely it's going to be side by side as we get to the hairpin. And yes, it is side by side with Sebastian Vettel. Who's going to come out on top? I'm going to squeeze him out once again. He's going to have to try the cutback move if he wants to get past. He doesn't try it, and there we go. Back up into P2 in this race. But now coming into the final corner, Sebastian Vettel still very close on the back of us. He will have DRS out of this corner. He will possibly be going for a move down in towards turn 1. Will he go for it? We give him the outside line. He goes into the back of us first of all, side by side with the Ferrari driver. We go into the back of him, lose a bit of our front wing, and there's massive contact between me and the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel. Loads of dirt on the screen at the moment, and we're going to have to give that position back to him because he did get the move done, and then we went to the back of him and sort of forced him off the track. So once again, we are going to give the position back to Sebastian Vettel, and surely he's going to hold on to it now. So let's have a look at a replay of exactly what happened between me and Sebastian Vettel. So there he goes. He goes into the back of me, loses a bit of his front wing, goes down in towards turn 1. We go into the back of him. We just sort of get stuck on each other, force each other wide, and then I go into the side of him once again, and that puts us into sort of a half spin. And there's me just giving the position. Both of us giving each other a lot of room as we start to get going again. Here's on board with Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel. So there he goes into the back of me. And there you can just hear the little bit of contact. Sebastian Vettel trying to turn, but it's not quite happening for him. There he is, getting the car going once again. There he is, giving me lots of room through turn 1 as I'm on his inside currently. But here we go, once again, getting going on lap 27 of this race. We have Daniel Ricciardo right behind us as we could possibly lose out to 3rd position in this race. And he's trying to hold it up the inside, but it's not quite going to be enough for him there. Through this long right-hander now. We've got Daniel Ricciardo right behind us. And I think that's Carlos Sainz right behind him. So Carlos Sainz could have a shot of getting his first ever podium in Formula 1 if he can play his cards right. And here he is going for a move on the right-hand side. Carlos Sainz Jr. on the right-hand side, down in towards turn 1. Is he going to get the job done on us? We're coming back at him under braking in towards the hairpin now, trying to hold it around the outside. And unlike Sebastian Vettel, we've managed to get the job done around the outside, and we're holding on to P3 of this Chinese Grand Prix for the time being. But on the final lap now, through this fast right-hander, got Daniel Ricciardo, Carlos Sainz, and I think the Ferrari of Kimi Räikkönen has come back in this race all up behind us at the moment. Going down this very, very long straight, Carlos Sainz moves over to the right-hand side. He's got the DRS. He's got the job done for the time being. Daniel Ricciardo, no, Kimi Räikkönen follows him through on the right-hand side under braking. Can we try something around the outside of the Toro Rosso driver? No, we can't. We run it wide, get it off the track. Kimi Räikkönen's got the job done on us as well. Daniel Ricciardo currently behind us in 6th position, and I think we've lost out 2 positions in one corner. It's not going to be a podium here at the Chinese Grand Prix. It's only good enough for 5th position, but it is still a fantastic result.
Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you've pulled through. Thank you.
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes, then, are on top today.
So a fantastic race here at the Chinese Grand Prix, and I was a little bit gutted not to get onto the podium, but still 5th position is still a great result for the Renault, so I can definitely be very, very happy about that. We had some great battles with drivers we shouldn't really be battling with. Sebastian Vettel, Carlos Sainz, Kimi Räikkönen, Daniel Ricciardo, Max Verstappen. We had battles with all of those drivers, so it was a fantastic race all round. Lewis Hamilton won the race with Sebastian Vettel finishing in 2nd, Carlos Sainz in 3rd with Kimi Räikkönen in 4th. I finished the race in 5th with Daniel Ricciardo behind me in 6th, Nico Rosberg in 7th, Sergio Perez in 8th with Danny Kvyat in 9th, and Esteban Gutierrez getting the final World Championship point. Julian Palmer finished the race down in 15th position. Not the best of races for him, but still managed to beat the Manners, and unfortunately losing out to the Saubers. And the three guys who DNF were Max Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, and Felipe Massa, with Valtteri Bottas and Nico Hülkenberg 1 lap down. So disappointing races for both of those guys. We are now up into 7th in the Drivers' Championship on 18 points. We've got Max Verstappen behind us. We've jumped up above Max Verstappen. Felipe Massa just only 4 points ahead of us as well. So if he has more engine failures and we get into the points again, we should definitely be battling with the likes of him. Carlos Sainz moving up into 5th on 25 points. Only 3 points behind the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel. Now Lewis Hamilton leads the championship by 19 points over his teammate of Nico Rosberg. So at the moment he is running away with it, but there is a long way left to go in this season. I think, 18 races left to go in this season. So still a very, very long way left to go. And there is a lot of time for Nico Rosberg to come back at Lewis Hamilton. But having a look at the drivers' standings, and we are still in 6th position on 18 points, but Force India have got a little bit... No, they haven't got close to us, but they are now on 11 points, with Haas still on 7 and McLaren Honda on 2. So Haas and McLaren not scoring any points here today. Toro Rosso moving up into 3rd position in the constructors' standings, above their sister team of Red Bull. So Red Bull will be very, very embarrassed to see Toro Rosso ahead of him right now. But both Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen have had reliability issues across this season so far. So they should be able to pick those results up as we go further into the season. And hopefully for them, they do challenge with the likes of Ferrari and Mercedes for the constructors. But that is it for this Chinese Grand Prix. Let's head back to the menus. A good race there at the Chinese Grand Prix. You know, we were battling with a lot of drivers and managed to get 5th position in the end, so it was a fantastic result. So there's just confirmation there that we are beating Jolyon Palmer in the rival. Well, beating him. We've beaten him in the rivalry battle. And we've now got 456 research points after that race. And that is enough to upgrade our drag on our car, which I think I am going to do. Because like I said, for the start of the season, I just want to upgrade the straight line speed of this car. So drag is fantastic for that. We're going to upgrade that. And that should put us above the Haas, the McLarens, and possibly even the Force Indias as well. But as we get to Spain, of course, all the other teams will be improving their cars. So that won't stay like that. So we need to be aware of when we get to Spain of the other guys improving their cars. But we're currently 7th in the drivers' standings on 18 points. And I think we're still in 6th in the constructors as well. So doing fantastically for Renault at the moment, but we will be stepping up the difficulty next time around at the Russian Grand Prix. But that is it for this Chinese Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like button. Also subscribe to my channel if you are new around here. We have so much Formula 1 content coming to you across this whole weekend. And of course, we have this career mode coming to you every single day for the whole of Season 1. So 21 days, 21 races. And we might even throw 2 in a day somewhere along the way as well. So look forward to that. And if you do subscribe, then you'll get a little notification and you never have to miss a video from me as well. But that is it for today's race. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time at the Russian Grand Prix. Until then, though, it's goodbye from me.